Now, the specific problem here is the majority, in fact, all of the equipment belonging to ISR3 is stored in Scannable, and that's the main management tool for it. However, there are a few shortcomings in Scannable, and one of them is that when you have several events needing recorded and monitored, it makes it a little bit difficult. For instance, it's okay in Scannable to have one event like a new certification date or something, but when you're talking about some of the equipment for confined space, it required to be certified, it required to be inspected, it required to be serviced. So what we needed to do was create an easier tool for that. Now, managing all that in a spreadsheet is quite a problem because you have to remember to open the spreadsheet, you have to remember to review it all, and that can be quite problematic, especially when you're really, really busy doing other things. You don't always find the time to do that, so things get missed. So what we did to save that is, first of all, we created a space within the ISAR hub, and you access it by going to the main ISAR hub site. So I'll just bring you back in and you can see that's how we got there. And you see here we have a button, confined space equipment. Now once again, these buttons are going to increase. There's going to be substantially more, but for the moment we'll click on confined space, and this takes you to the library. Now in this library, it's quite straightforward. If you want to add an item to it, you simply click on new item. And anybody that's going to do this, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll give you some specific instruction. In fact, what I like to do is I like to do the first 2 or 3 with you. Not so much training, but actually helping you get the first 2 or 3. And once you've done it, it's really very, very straightforward. It just like becomes like muscle memory then, and then you can do it. Now, the beauty about adding all of your equipment in here, so we could give it a name, we'll give it an ID, date purchased, etc., all of that kind of stuff. You can set the dates, and this is quite important. Once you've done all of that, once the item is actually added to the library, what happens here is that these dates are all monitored and by the system, not by you, by the system. So you will receive an email which will be 60 days before any given date, telling you, for instance, if we look at inspection date, telling you 60 days before the inspection date's due, you need to have a look at this piece of equipment. By the way, that number can be modified, so if anybody wants to get back to me and say, oh, well, actually I'd like 30 days or whatever, I can change it. Then you'll get another email at 30 days saying you've still not inspected it, and then you'll get another email at 5 days, and then that's escalated, and that copies in your line manager or ultimately Vern, or the CEO gets copied in, because that's what we call a serious breach, a serious escalation. Now, that's something that we're doing. That's a theme that goes for all of the document, all of the risk assessments, which we'll talk about later. All of these libraries